We are live. Hello, everyone. This is Cheri with the Ascension Sessions. I am so excited to be here tonight with you all, with our guest, Sabrina Campbell. Welcome to the show, Sabrina.
Thank you.
I just want to give people a couple of minutes to come into the chat room. And we're excited to have some old friends with us tonight, Dexter and the Elf Man. Thank you so much for being here and being in the chat room. It's awesome to see you. I know Sabrina is looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yes.
And everyone else who comes into the chat room, please say hello and tell us where you're watching from. That's always fun for us to know who's with us. And I also want to just say thank you so much for watching this channel. I know you have so many options of things you could be doing right now and other shows you could be watching right now. And I appreciate you being here and spending this time with us. And I just wanted to mention, if anyone is new to this channel, this is the Ascension Sessions. It's a channel where we talk about the ascension process, sometimes ascension symptoms, spirituality, multidimensionality, intuition. And sometimes we even talk about contact and other weird topics like that. It's always weird, it's always fun, and it's always slightly off the usual stuff that you might find on YouTube. And I also wanted to say that we're in the fabulous month of June, and we're coming right up on the summer solstice, which is usually on my birthday, June 21st. This year it's on the 20th, whatever. It's still summer solstice. And I've got a goal to get 1,000 subscribers by the solstice. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please take a moment to do that right now. That would be awesome. And so now getting back to Sabrina, who is a first-time guest on our show. Yay. So glad you're here, Sabrina. I've known you for about 3 years, and I've been wanting to get you on this show. And then a lot has changed in my life and your life, and COVID happened. So basically the world changed. So I'm glad the stars aligned for us tonight.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
I am looking forward to it. This little thing is distracting me.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to share with you guys a little bit more about Sabrina, and then we will get started with our show. So Sabrina Campbell is a soul path coach and an animal communicator who can help one find their way through times where they feel stuck. Sabrina is a self-taught soul path coach from her vast life experiences. She is deeply connected to the energies of the universe and has a sensitivity that is unique. Her soul sessions are powerful, and her readings are deeply felt by those she works with. She is also a gifted animal communicator who bridges the gap between pet and person. I love that. The info our pets can give us is perfectly non-judgmental. They can be the key to our happiness, and by hearing from them, this can deepen the relationship between pet and person. Sabrina has a depth of knowledge of the metaphysical world that is boundless. Her healing energies are filled with the light of the divine and manifest in transformative experiences. A kind and open channel of light, she will have a great impact on one's understanding of themself and those around them. And just really quickly, what a beautiful bio. You can reach Sabrina mostly on Facebook, but also on her website, sixthsensibilities.com. And I will put up her Facebook channel right here. It's facebook.com/sixthsensibilities with the number 6. So again, welcome to the show, Sabrina. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Good job.
Yes.
Good intro.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a great bio. And I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat room. Hello, Eden and Pat, also known as the Elf, and Dexter, also known as UFO Gandalf. Thank you guys for being here. And everyone else who's watching, please say hello in the chat room so we can acknowledge you. That would be wonderful. And we have quite a show for you tonight. Like I said, I've known Sabrina for several years now, and I've seen her be interviewed on other shows, and she is such a fabulous guest. She's a highly gifted and talented reader, both for humans, animals, and other.
Yep.
So we will get started. Hello, Brave Seal. Thank you so much for being here. Nice to see you in the chat room. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. So Sabrina, of course, I want to start by asking you, how your childhood was and how your gifts came online and when they came online. Please share as much as your story as you feel comfortable doing, but I'm curious to know.
Absolutely. So I would like to think that I've always had my gifts online. I was not aware of them, though. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I think that most people speak to their animals when they're children, and I would imagine that most people don't really hear them talk back. That wasn't the case for me. It was very open conversation, perhaps not in wording. It was more in body language, very much like my family dogs, I would always take for walks and understand their language as we were interested in the same things. We'd see something on the walk, and if the dog saw it first, then I would definitely be like, what's that? And we both look at it and dig around at it, whatever it was. I also got a lot of difficult animals when I was younger. My coach had said to me a few years ago that she was kind of apologetic for all of the horses that she got me to ride when I was so young, because I was fearless, because I communicated. We were having a conversation the entire time. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. So when I was riding around in a circle and the horse was behaving itself so well, there was a lot of communication going on there. And some of the times it was me telling the horse, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. Let's do this. I don't know, together, and not kill each other. That would be great. And the horse would be, okay, that's all you want? Yes. So then we would have, sorry.
How old were you? I'm sorry. How old were you?
I'm going to say single digits, like 7, 6 at that time. Maybe not handling the horses so much, but being around them. I've always trusted them. I was one of them kids that would just unabashedly walk under a horse, and the horse would be like, whoa, kid, what are you doing? So not move, right? Like, just, there was so much talking. So much beyond what's explainable. Like, the lessons that I learned were from animals, like teachers were animals in my childhood. And then I got my horse when I was like, I had a few horses beforehand, but that heart connection, sometimes it really connects with a certain soul. And we were both the same type of being, hard-headed, tough, don't tell me what to do, ODD-ish as young ones, both of us. And we really hit it off. And she was a horse that was sold a couple of times and then brought back because the people previous didn't like her. She had too much attitude.
Oh, wow.
That's why she matched me. So yeah, we went pretty far, her and I together. We went very far. What I mean is we showed and we won a lot. So we just found that connection, and she's old now. She's 10 years younger than me. She's 32 years old now, but I am only 41, but she is 32. We'll just go there. But anyway, yeah, and she's still alive today. She loves my son like nobody's business. And I had a lovely visit with her a few weeks ago, and she's getting old, but that language is still there. And the people were weird. The people, I realized in this part of my life that I spoke to a lot of people who were not living when I was a child. And I didn't realize that. I thought they were living. And I can remember so many people, like bystanders, watching me like I was crazy as I'm talking to obviously nobody, but I wasn't. you know? So, and this is stuff that I've just been able to go back to because of my understanding of timelines now. So now I can go back into that moment and experience it, not as myself per se, but as a witness with like a connection to myself. So it's an interesting way to look at things now because I can really see the full picture, the whole picture. So I can see why I used to get weird looks from people all the time. I'm such a weird kid. And people just be looking at me like, what is up with that kid? Who's she talking to? So, yeah.
That's so funny.
It is.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it is funny because when I'm a kid, I was self-conscious of it. Like, I always felt like people were watching me for a weird reason. And I couldn't understand, like, what? Now I understand. And it's funny because my mom would be talking to somebody. Like, I can remember this sales barn type thing. It's just a barn that had, like, it used to sell animals, but then when we went there, it was more food and animal food and furniture. And my mom would be talking to this bird guy, and he always had birds and he always had bird seed. And I guess my mom either would get bird seed from him, didn't matter. She was talking to him. And I would be standing there, like kind of half listening to her, but then also looking at an old man over here. And he was always there, always. And then I realized in one of these timeline visits back again that no, he was never there. He was always there, but he was never there. Nobody else.
He was always there, but yeah, that's so funny. Well, that's so funny because my next question was your childhood pretty normal? So thank you for psychically reading my next question and going right ahead.
Right. Well, I thought it was normal until nobody else got the same look I got. Like, what the hey?
Well, it's funny because like kids talk to themselves all the time, and nowadays I just think that's normal, you know. But I guess maybe if you were like positioning your body towards a corner and then talking to yourself, that could be seen as strange.
Yeah, it was usually at an empty chair because where this gentleman, the one that I remember, where he used to sit was right on a chair in this line of chairs in this hallway, and I can imagine. I used to talk like I do, you know, like blah, 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 in my hands and stuff. So I'm just imagining what I'm seeing is this kid talking to air, but in that timeline transfer, I can see that person still, right? But I can also, I can see it from both views, my view and the rest. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's so funny. Drew Banky just came in the chat room. Hi, Drew. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you, brother. And hello to Anna. Thank you for joining us. Well, I think that's interesting is because Drew Banky had a similar experience where he had contact with one of his multidimensional selves. And then he had a dream where he went and saw it from the other perspective, from the perspective of the future self watching his current self. So that's similar to what you did in your timeline jumping.
Yeah. And the timeline jumping is
really cool.
It's helped me so much in this time frame because I can then go right back to whatever spot in my life seemed to introduce a certain emotion. And then like, it's so fast now. It's like, okay, I thought, poof, I'm there. It's not just the thought, it's being there. And it's like, whoa, right. I wanted to do this.
I meant to do this.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I like it.
So clearly you've had communication with other beings, be it, you know, a live animal or someone who has passed, or probably even like a relative, right? You could read their thoughts, or maybe like, I think you were going to start to tell a story where you knew somebody was being dishonest, a salesman, right? Who came into your home.
Did I?
I thought you mentioned something about like this man came to your house and he was selling something. And I think I've heard that story before. So you could tell when adults were not being honest, right?
Yeah.
Very.
But that was a survival thing because I did come from a traumatized childhood. So that was a lot of that was survival. Now this is where it gets I'm going to jump into it because we've mentioned it. I've got this, and now we're going to go there.
Okay.
So I do believe that people who had traumatizing childhoods, regardless of the trauma, we can't measure trauma. It doesn't matter what the trauma was or is. It affects people the same way. So, and relatively. So, where I feel like the strengths are coming out of people right now is from the trauma. And so these traumatized souls, well, they're not so, the bodies, the beings are traumatized. And a person switches into a different form of drive when they're thinking of safety as almost every other thought. So right now, I'm finding the most gifted people, so gifted, are the people who are working through their trauma or are ready to, but haven't quite yet. And I feel like, we can say that that's a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidences. So I won't even give it the word believe. There are no coincidences. So to me, when I see these people who are so uber gifted and traumatized, I can see that someone can move through a trauma. And when they get to the end of that trauma, that specific, whatever the biggest one is, there will be such a, like a homecoming party kind of a thing. Like it's such a warm flush of understanding and wisdom and knowledge and innateness, innate intelligence, innate emotional intelligence. And it seems to come to those who have experienced some of the darkest realms of emotion. Now, dark isn't negative. It's not bad. It's not something that we run from. But dark is also something that somebody knows that they're challenging themselves within. So those people, the ones who can move through all of that trauma and get to a point where they can start to help heal others with that same trauma, they're coming out of the woodwork. Like they're just walking out of the forest now. Like you can hardly see the forest for the beings that are opening their trauma and opening through their trauma. And to me, that's like the bravest pathway anybody can take.
Yeah. And do you think it's because like we've had a year and a half to sit with ourselves at home, in silence, and maybe in those moments when we weren't watching Netflix, everyone kind of had to look within.
Yeah. And that's this. I mean, I say pandemic for a different reason, not for the whole political stuff. I say it because energetically it was coming, whether we wanted it to or not. So this is a good reason for it. It's a good opportunity to find out who's committed and who's not. Now, not for me to find that out, but for the energies that be, to see which way are we going to go with this. And right now, and I do Akashic, like I jump into the Akashic library. I am in there and just, I love it. Anyways, there are a lot of blank pages from the forward point in every step that we take. There's not necessarily a written story. So, and this is one of the first times in human history where the Akashic have blank records. So it's one of these time frames. I get goosebumps every time I talk about it. It's one of these time frames where we really can influence it either which way. So,
wow, that's pretty incredible. I haven't heard anyone say that before. So
it's incredible. All right. I look into the books and I'm like, okay, let's go see what we're doing. There's nothing in here.
What do you think that means? Why are there blank pages in the Akashic?
It could mean that there is actually nothing written, but it could mean that we're not supposed to see it because I feel we are supposed to be moving from ourselves, not from influence. And I feel like right now, lots of people are breaking the old mold of themselves, and lots of people think they're falling apart because they're breaking this mold, but it's exactly that. It's breaking. Everything that grows larger needs to break the old shell in order to grow larger. So this is what's happening. And if I had to say it, it's almost like our physical cells are kind of separating a little bit and then rearranging and then in a vacuum and get sucked right back into a different physical form. My body's been doing that. I have said, I think in the last few weeks, quite often, and I'm pretty happy about this. I had said in November, I was like, I thought we were getting a pool. We haven't, but who cares? I said to myself, I want to look good in a bikini. And then I left it at that. And then I started to really delve into the deep stuff, into the stuff that made me angry, that made me cry, that made me, kick things and punch things and just let it out, because if it stays in, there's no health to that. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of any one of my emotions. They are my best teachers. They have taught me more than any human being has ever taught me in my entire life. And I will not deny what comes to me, because I have to learn what it is in this process, that why is it coming to me? So I put it out there that I wanted to look good in a bikini, and it just sort of came off.
Happened.
Yeah. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I'll manifest it. No, I mean, is it all just that? No, it was probably more the work that I did, and the fact that I wasn't afraid to stand in front of myself and say at times, I don't like you right now. I love you. I don't like you. And then the next second say, I'm never not going to love you. Let's just do this. Let's work together. And then come together and do whatever the work is that needs to be done inner-wise. And from that, the intentions and manifestations began. The intentions already were there and the manifestations began. And I kept getting wonderful feedback. Like, people in my house have, my son going to school, he got sick a couple of times and I never did. I really realized last week, I think sometime, that I haven't been sick in 4 years, over 4 years. And I used to get the flu, like the bronchitis every year from the flu. I had pneumonia, like really bad pneumonia, 3 or 4 times, like popping ribs out of place and separating chest wall material from coughing. And I haven't had any of that in like 4 years.
That's awesome.
Right? And I love it.
Well, I love what you shared about how you spoke to yourself, because I think that self-love is so important. And a lot of times, I won't say women, I'll say people look in the mirror and say, "Ugh, I don't like myself right now." And they walk away. They don't then follow that up with, "I still love you. I'm just not happy with you right now." And I think that's such an important distinction, because we have to focus on love, and that includes ourselves right now. We're going through a lot of emotional baggage. We're going through a lot of energy shifts through this ascension, through dealing with coronavirus and the quarantining and the mask wearing and the vaccines, and just like we're all getting bombarded on so many different levels. And it's really important that we stay in love, whether it's with ourselves or not, family and friends. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your experience there. So Pat is dying to know if you got your healing center going.
Oh, so thank you, Pat. You're awesome. See, I didn't even have to mention it. You're awesome. So myself and 2 friends we are called Trinity Energies. We are on Facebook, and we have a website as well. We are now getting the ball rolling in a big way for this, and the healings that we're doing, we've been doing our friends, 3 of our friends, and we wanted to do some healing on somebody that we could really follow up on, really have information from. Wouldn't feel weird about asking, how did your doctor's appointment go, randomly, because we really want to know how the healing is going with these people. But we're really getting going now. So like, we don't have a center per se. Well, we do. One of the ladies has a great property and it's fantastic outdoor stuff, and she's getting a yurt, so that's awesome. So we can have like outdoor stuff there as well. I don't know what it's like.
That's cool.
Yeah, but up here it's still kind of crazy COVID restrictions. So today actually was the first day that we were allowed to go back in and buy non-essential items. So yay.
That's awesome.
That was Pat, right? We got it going.
Yeah.
But not advertised much yet. But we're going to be working on that like nobody's business in the next little while. So stay tuned.
What's it called? Trinity Sisters?
Trinity Energetics.
Oh, energetics. I don't know why I heard sisters.
Because we're all sisters.
Trinity Energetics. Did I spell that right? On Facebook, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, you guys, here's the link. I'm only going to post it once.
You're awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, wait, I only did it to
the chat.
I only put it on whatchamacallit. I can't speak right now.
No.
I only put it in YouTube, but for everyone on Facebook, I'll put it there as well. Facebook.com/Trinity Energetics. All right.
Perfect.
There. Now everybody has your link. Okay. Awesome. So I would love to talk about your spirit guides, because I think that's such a fascinating subject. When I first met you 3 years ago, you were mostly working with this consciousness of Melchizedek. And I wanted to ask you if that's changed, or if you've got more guides online, and how many guides you work with you when you're doing readings and healings for people. And you also are a soul path. So I'm getting that you're doing readings, healings, and giving advice on people and how they should move forward on a particular subject or whatever. So yeah, that's a lot. So you've got like a big team, I'm guessing, but go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I used to work with Melchizedek as a being, as a separate being. And I can't really say exactly when. It's like we just merged so naturally and organically that it was one day we were 2 and the next day we were 1. So I get a lot of information from that energy source, because Melchizedek as a being was the advisor to the Lord in the Bible. So basically he knows all. And the funny thing is, though, when I go up and speak with the Council of 12, and it's the Light Council of 12, each time I go up there to speak with them, he is with me as a separate being. He is Gandalf. I always tell Dexter that every time we get together.
Does he look like?
Totally like Gandalf.
Like Gandalf.
When I'm standing there, it's like big, tall guy with a gray suit or gray garb. And like, I'm like, man, I must love Gandalf like so much. So
is he Gandalf the white or Gandalf the gray?
The gray.
Okay.
He's the hidden guy in the background. He wants me to experience everything first and then allow me. Well, just like Gandalf the Grey. He is so charming, but also he's a teacher. You know, you go out and do it. I want to watch. Well, no, I want you here with me. No, child. I want to watch. Okay, fine. So there's a discussion that goes on, but when we go up to the Council of 12, it's definitely a familyhood. I was going to say brotherhood, but there's just as many divine feminine as there are divine masculine. None of us are above anybody. And when they're talking to me, they're speaking to my soul. And I know by the conversations that we have that my soul is really good friends with these beings. So I'm like, I'll go with it. I can learn a lot. So that's interesting. I haven't necessarily been able to see all of the Council of 12. There's a few that I haven't been able to see, but I can see that they're sitting there. They're just kind of blurry. It's interesting.
Oh, wow.
So when I do a reading, I'm going to say most of that energy comes from that Melchizedek body.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the body, again, of all. There is a 13th seat in the council, the High Council of 12. And that 13th seat is Melchizedek. And each time that I see Melchizedek sitting in that 13th seat, I am directly across from him. So they're in like not a circle, not a half circle, but like a round table.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of them has their own galactic chair. It's like a symbol. It's got its own color, its own crystal, its own frequency, even like it operates differently than the one beside it. So there's 6 on either side of Melchizedek in the middle, and then me straight across from Melchizedek. But it's almost like a rounded ended triangle and me at the point. So when I'm talking to them and they're talking to me, I almost feel them through Melchizedek. It's like I'm in that chair. It's a very visual interaction. Mm-hmm. So the only time that I talk to the Council of 12, the High Council of 12 right now, is for a major collective consciousness work. So when I have to do that kind of work, it's funny because they know they can count on me, but they also know that I'm going to have a little bit of a tantrum because it comes through me so powerfully. And when I'm dealing with aspects of the collective, it's not the collective of happiness or the aspect of happiness. It's not the aspect of joy. It's the aspect of despair and the aspect of resentment and the aspect of chauvinism and the opposite. And it's all of the root causes and issues with our belief system as it is. So whenever I get that energy coming into me, when it comes in super powerful, I start to understand, whoa, this is not mine. And as soon as I can acknowledge it, then I can step out of it and see the problem. But without the acknowledgement, I'm in it. So sometimes I'm like, rah, rah, and people are like, why are you so mad? I don't know. And then, oh, wait a minute, it's the collective. And I've been doing this for years. I've been doing it for years. And I've asked many times, why do I seem like I don't understand that I'm doing something for the collective? And they say, because what you are doing is so dark and deep. So what they don't want me to do is to completely separate from that depth of darkness, because if I do, then I'm not necessarily going to be able to connect with it when I come across it here in the 3D. So it's not that they're torturing me. They just know that I'm strong enough to do this work, that I'm willing as a soul, as much as a physical being, and that I understand that I can shake it off, that it's not stuck with me. It never sticks with me. The only reason it's with me is to teach me. And as soon as I learn the lesson, as soon as I surrender, then the information comes to me and it goes away, the whole problem. And then it's a whole lot of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Blah, blah, blah. And, and we can't deny this stuff right now. I'm no more enlightened than other people that are going through these same problems. I'm no more trained to be through this stuff and go through this stuff than anybody else that is. The only difference is that I trust that connection fully.
Right.
So when I'm in the realm of Gur and I'm dealing with resentment from lots of negativities going around in the world. Now, I'm not affected by reading stuff on Facebook. I'm talking about collective energies, like stuff that comes from every other being in this universe. And some of them beings are stuck in resentment. They're stuck in codependency. They're stuck in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I don't get stuck in it, but I help
you feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, initially, until I acknowledge, okay, this isn't mine. It's a part of mine, but it's not all mine. It would not come to me if I didn't have to deal with it within.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a good point.
All just mine, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So whenever we have temper tantrums, we have to honor the temper tantrum. People are like, no, you're not supposed to have them. Oh, bite it. You are. If you're having one, you're supposed to have one.
Right.
The thing is are you having it in the most efficient way?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
the most efficient way is the longer route, because you learn far more lessons on that route. And then the next time you come into this challenge or this issue, you're like right through it, because you went from start to finish in this one problem. So yeah, I don't judge people for having temper tantrums ever, because I'm like, oh, dude, I understand.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. No problem. So I've been wanting to ask you, like, what does Sabrina, how does Sabrina define ascension? And then what do your guides say about the phase of the ascension process that we're in right now?
Good one.
2-part question.
Yeah. You might have to remind me of the second part. Okay. First part. My idea of ascension is emotional intelligence. It's becoming emotionally intelligent. And what I mean by that is feeling all emotions that come to us, having enough space, like I said, between them to recognize oneself in the situation, and then to learn from that. And all we have to do is learn, and then we bump up a step in the scale of vibration, or in the whatever, and we vibe at a higher frequency. Right.
Yes,
exactly. And it's lesson by lesson by lesson by lesson by lesson by lesson. So it doesn't matter if when we deny our emotions, when we think we have to stuff our anger because we're supposed to be happy, that's the other way. What we need to do is honor absolutely every emotion that comes to us. If it comes to us, it comes to us because we need to deal with it. Even if we're like, oh, I've been working on this for 6 years now. Well, not enough, or you haven't hit that one spot yet, that's really hard, and that you've been resisting for that 6 years, and now it's kind of hitting you over the head, or it develops into something in your body, possibly that you don't want.
Right.
So that's ascension, my view. The guides, how do they see ascension right now? Is that the question?
Yeah, like this phase of where we are on the timeline, like this part of the ascension as a collective, right? Like,
excited.
Are we doing a good job? Are we Are we like, effing it up here?
Even the ones
what are we doing?
Even the ones who seem like they're not doing a good job, like somebody who maybe stays like hermitized in their house and never wants to get out, and they're still ascending. They're still working towards, a mass upbringing. And everyone is contributing right now, regardless of what they believe in, of how a lot of our issues right now are belief systems. So even them acknowledging that they have a belief system allows all of us to go up quite a good level, because of the ripple that person has just made. And there's many different ripples made, right? Like, there are, like, every ripple has its own vibration, its own frequency. So when I send out a ripple, after I work on, this is also ascension, after I work on an emotion and I send out a ripple, what I do is everybody does this. We send out a ripple that has information in it that everybody else who this ripple hits, or at least affects, they're not able to delve as deep as where I can go. So I go do the depth, the dark, the dirty stuff. I'm the person, our Yoda has called us way showers. When I say us, I mean the 3 ladies that I work with. So the way showing means that we have to experience stuff first, and then we're prepared for when the onset for the rest of the population comes in. We're ready for them and to help them and to show them. Mm-hmm. So what that means to me as a picture is when I sort out a feeling, an emotion, and it's a deep one, resentment, codependency, fear, a lot of those specific emotions, when I delve through them and I process them, then that ripple goes out, and everybody who can't go that deep right now gets the benefit of the work that I did. So I did it for everybody, because every little ripple goes everywhere in the universe. And mm-hmm. people can take from that ripple what they need, because that's what these ripples are. It's like a heartbeat, boom, 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 all the way through the earth in the universe. And then everybody gets this pulse, and it just poof goes through them. And they get to take from that whatever it is they need. If they need one tiny little morsel of it, they get it. If they need all of it, they take it. And then they can process what they need to process on their level without needing to catch up.
Right. Wow. Beautiful. Thank you for answering that. I just want to take a moment to say hello. We've got some new people with us. Sonia says to say hi to you. Hello. So glad to be here. Can you please say hello to Sabrina?
I love Sonia.
And also we have Tressa Talbot, who wanted to also say hello. And we have, where did she go? From Canada. Chandra, was it Chandra who was from, somebody was from Canada. Anyways, wanted to say hello to those people. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new to this channel, please like and subscribe this video. Whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, please show us some love. We're really close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm trying to hit 1,000 for my birthday this month. Not because I care about the numbers, but YouTube has this weird thing where once you hit 1,000, they unlock all these features for me as a channel, as a user. So I don't care about the statistics so much. It's more just about being able to communicate with you guys and share more information about what's coming out soon. Oh, it was Tressa. Tressa's from Canada. Thank you for mentioning that, because the chat thing rolled up and I couldn't find you. So thank you so much, Tressa, for being here. Let me just check really quickly if there are any other questions in the chat room. Also wanted to mention really quickly before I forget, Sabrina has graciously agreed to do some live readings. So we will get to those later in the second half of the show. Hopefully you guys can stay with us throughout until 9 o'clock, or, an hour and 15 minutes from now. So awesome. Thank you for answering the Ascension question, Sabrina. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
So I don't know if you believe this, but I believe that, the solstice this year is a big one, because we're going through all these shifts, and we just went through the solar eclipse, and now we're getting ready to come up on a 3-day portal. Yeah. The 19th, 20th, and the 21st of the solstice. What do you think is coming? Like, what have your guides shared with you, or what have you gotten downloads on?
They haven't shared anything with me about it, to tell you the truth, but I'm getting it now as we're talking.
Okay, awesome. Real-time channeling here.
Yeah, that's how I channel. It's funny because like my girlfriend does full body channels, and she can get right into it, right? And I'm like, that's so cool. And I'm like watching her, whereas mine is like, it comes in my head and goes out my mouth. So I'm like the megaphone. Awesome. So 19th, 20th, and 21st, there is like, I keep on seeing lots of oranges. For me, orange is like relaxed happiness. So like yellow to me would be excited happiness, and orange to me is relaxed happiness. So I feel with this comes almost like everywhere in the world, somebody is going to have like massive relief. Like I keep feeling like a big breath being and relief. I am being shown that we shall not expect that feeling to last for long. Not because it's bad, but because once that layer has been opened, more layers are revealed. So, you know, it's like we have those 3 days to really chill out and feel energetically recharged. And then a lot more things in good ways. Again, energy works efficiently. So what we perceive as negative could be the most efficient route to wherever we need to go. So the best thing to do is to just let everything happen. I mean, we can't change it, but in ourselves, let everything happen so that we can say, it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen. And then allow ourselves to be a part of that shift. There's like so much things. I'm asking for specifics, and I'm seeing like somewhere in India. I don't know where. Give me a name. Oh, Mumbai. Okay, so somewhere near there, Bombay, right? I know so many Indian people.
Mumbai is Bombay.
Yeah.
English versus
Indian. Yeah.
Indian.
So it's something major is going to happen there. I feel like it's a political party or a realization, like a big stage event where something is revealed. I'm interested in this one because I'm not really feeling like it's in this situation that people are going to be like, I feel like it's a puzzle piece for the relief. They're going to feel relief. They're going to feel a little bit. It's a little puzzle piece. Then it's going to get a little rough. And then it's going to start to get easier in Bombay. A lot of the times I ask for non-political information.
Yeah.
So
understandable.
Yeah. I just want to get like real world stuff. I see a lot of, energetic beings coming out of the earth, like just kind of looking like they're walking up steps out of the earth. And I feel like there's going to be a merging of, they're saying merging of ways. So I feel like this might be, and then they're showing me a contract signed. A literal
interesting.
Contract. No, it's not a literal contract. It's an energetic contract. So, and that's like where Easter islands down in the South
Pacific.
Yeah. And thank you. I was stuck on that one. South something down there. But there's something like really happening there. I feel like there's also a religious event, like, or a cultural event that's happening down in the all Polynesian islands, like not just Hawaii, but like quite a few all around, even Australia. Well, not Australia, but islands around there.
Yeah, like the Samoan Islands and
like
Polynesia.
Yes,
Fiji.
and the beautifully big people. I love them.
Samoans.
There's something going on as far as earth stuff, and I feel like that's got something to do with this energetic contract. So yeah, something's going to be, to tell you the truth, they show me stuff dropping from space all the time right now, like all the time. I'm like,
stuff like meteors or people or ships or energy,
all of it. Like,
interesting.
Like I can see some small meteors hitting a populated place, but it seems like nobody gets hurt. And I'm thinking like South America somewhere. I'm also seeing chunks of metal coming down, and I can sort of see that one hitting something in the ocean, like a ship or but again, not really hurting anybody. It's like a really weird, many happenstances. I also feel like unexplained lights are going to be happening quite a bit around that time and down in South America area.
So I've heard that people are going to kind of really be tested during this time, and we may be feeling nausea, extreme fatigue, or we may be fully energized and like come online and start seeing lights and whatnot. That, you know, it could go to either extreme because the light codes that are coming in are going to be super intense. So I was wondering,
they're orange.
Yeah, which is sacral chakra, right? Which is like the rebirthing of the womb. It's like we're being reborn again, or not again, but we're being reborn, which is kind of what we need, because it's like 2020 was like being in the womb for a year, you know, in darkness, in silence. And now we're coming out. So the orange is perfect. It's spot on with the sacral chakra. Which is kind of where we need to be. And then creativity will flow, and abundance and self-love and, you know, rebirthing, like all of that is coming through after we survive those 3 intense days. So I would just say to everyone, like, please be really gentle with yourself during the summer solstice portal, the 3 days, the 19th, 20th, and 21st. If you find yourself going through anything, take a bath, go for a walk, spend time in nature, or just sleep.
Yeah. And a lot of the way showers they're feeling all of those symptoms right now. So like a lot of way showers are, because we have to be ready for this that's coming on. So, I mean, I don't feel it. But I feel it emotionally more than I do physically. But my husband, holy Hannah, like, this man has been like sick for, you know, a few days this week, and like, you know, taking time off work here and there because of how he feels.
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, come on now, let's just blow it out of you. Come on. He's like, I can't. Okay.
No.
Then. Yeah, but then I hear other people are going through the same thing right now, and I know that they are all way showers in the making as well. So, I mean, there's levels of that, levels of us, and we're all here to do something different. No man is more important. I have said this, no person is more important than the other. I've said this a million times. The garbage man is no less important than the king. You know, like, everybody has a job, and they all have to do it, and they are doing it. So the Ascension Symptoms will definitely be a reflection of the areas in which we can do work. So if we want to do anything in that time frame, rather than being judgmental to ourselves or on ourselves, we could totally say things like, that was interesting that I reacted that way. I wonder why I did that. And then allow that to come to us, rather than saying, why did I do that? Because that kind of a why question is just going to be like, whoa, I don't want to answer that. Are you going to yell at me, self? So just do it, you know, like, ask questions about ourselves. Because, like, if I'm going to go through something emotional at some point, I always say, that was interesting. I wonder what that emotion is about. And then I'll go into the gentle whys when I've already asked the opening question, because we do need to know things. We do need to continuously ask why. But what we don't need to do is expect an answer. And by not expecting the answer to come, it'll come faster.
Oh, so. Interesting. Yeah, well, that would explain a lot for me, because I get impatient with my answers.
I know. And then you're like,
I want it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, a worm is crossing the sidewalk. What does that mean? And then my smart sarcastic self would be like, that means a worm is trying to get
crossing the sidewalk. Oh my goodness. Okay. So since we're on the topic of dates in June, I want to ask you one more loaded question. And then as we cross over the top of the hour, we can start doing some readings for people. And I also want to talk about your animal communication soon. But as many of you in the chat room or watching this later might be aware, June 25th has been declared the National Disclosure Day for America. The Pentagon has said that they're going to release to the public a lot of our, hidden UFO files and extraterrestrial contact on that date, which is funny that it's right after the solstice, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think? I'd love to hear in the chat room what people think is going to happen after June 25th. And Sabrina, what are your guides saying about disclosure for America, which, affects Canada too, obviously, and the rest of the world? Yeah.
Well, they have told me ever since I've been asking questions about the disclosure and what's going to happen. They said, don't be surprised that most of it's not going to come out. So I'm like, okay, I can understand that now. From what we've been going through, I can definitely see how things can be altered, how words can be said and not really, really meant. So we do have to be prepared that we're not going to see all of the information that we hope we're going to see. And that doesn't matter. That's not what's important. What's important is that those of us who are connected to the ether beings, we know what it is that we need to hear from this. I don't even know how they're doing it. I don't even know if they're doing it like a newscast. I don't know if they're just going to open up online everything and say, here you go. But we do have to understand that everything we're being given right now is about discernment. So a lot of it has to do with manipulation. And the reason that it is about discernment is because, again, there are no coincidences. So the fact that it's coming out after such an integral part of our year, and even being more integral because it's a powerful solstice this year. From 125 years, I feel we haven't had a certain amount of energy come through. It's almost like a certain color hasn't been coming through for the last 125 years. And it's not that it comes out every 125 years, but it's that it was planned to come out this solstice. So what that means is it just sounds, a color, whatever, right? Yay, purple. Who knows what that means? The best that I can explain it is that it is a level of consciousness that we have not yet tapped into. We've not been able to tap into because as a mass public, we have not been at a frequency that can unlock or even make sense of the information that's within this color. It is an electric color, I would like to call it. I don't really know what else to. It looks like it's living. It's very fluid, but it's like, it's so hard to describe. It's like a shiny gold, silver, different kind of shines at different kind of times. Purpley blue.
Cool. So this is not the orange color. This is a different color.
Isn't. Not the information, but what the information brings us is that orange feeling. So it's like it's an enlightened color that brings us up from the red to the orange, right? So we're now able to conceptualize humanity differently. And I asked why a concept, right? Before, when this information first came to me, why are we conceptualizing humans? And this is where I saw a very clear picture of a lot of us will be moving right into 5D. We won't be permanently there yet because, again, we can, but right now We need to be in, right? Wording is everything.
Right. Yeah.
We need to be in both 3D and 5D, 3D and 5D. We skipped 4D. 4D was the bridge. Whenever we took 4D to 5D, we didn't need 4D anymore. We can just fly over that bridge now because 4D really has no information in it. It's more keys for unlocking doors or bricks for building bridges. So, but it's a lot of people are going to be moving.
It's like the hallway.
Yeah.
Like the hallway to get from one room to the next room.
Exactly. And once you know it, right? Like you don't need to spend time there anymore. It's the first time you walk down that hallway, it's like, which door? It's the fifth one on the right. Okay. But you know it now. You just automatically walk there.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of us are going to be moving into 5D, and the 5D is information that a lot of it is non-physical. So those people who believed something at the beginning of this year are going to understand, and it's not going to be a belief. It's going to be a knowing. They're going to understand something a lot differently now. That same thing, but a lot differently. So I'm talking about people who have been visited, people who have feared their visits. They're going to be able to have an understanding, a deeper understanding and a deeper knowing that those visits and that fear was created to push us. So what I mean is that those of us who have been visited in a fearful sense, again, this was the most efficient way to have those beings work on that deepest part of them, which was blocking them from raising their vibration.
Okay, so you're not talking about like ancestors who crossed over. You're talking about other Star Nation beings and higher dimensional helpers.
Or ancestors who crossed over. Really, it's all messages of however you're being challenged in fear. Then, like if you're afraid of ghosts, right? And you go into a building. I mean, I have been in many tormented places. I have been in torture chambers in European castles. I have been in closets where people were kept and beaten, and children were kept and beaten and left and died. And, you know, I've been in many, many terrible places. I've been in them alone at night. I've been in them many times. I mean, perceptive. Nothing has ever happened to me, ever. And I've recognized it's not that I'm not attracting it. It's not that I'm deflecting it. It's that I'm not fearing it.
You're not afraid of it. So it doesn't need to come into your reality.
Or even if it does, it doesn't need to scratch me or bite me or punch me or whatever it is, right? In fact, if it did that, I would probably give it a whole lot back. You know, like, no, kids, no, sit down. So, and I joke about it. I'm not making fun of anybody who has fear in these situations because I can understand it. I have been fearful, immensely fearful in my life before. So I can understand the fear. And what I'm saying is those who have viewed those things in fear before are going to be able to move through that fear because they got stuck in that trauma, right? So this whole thing about the pandemic, again, it's an energetic pandemic I'm referring to, is about those people being able to move beyond that trauma and that fear, to move through it and recognize that it actually helped them to get here. And if they had not had that immense fear, they may never have challenged or tested or challenged themselves in a way where they could prove to themselves they could move beyond it.
Right. Right. It's like the classical story, the hero's journey, you know, like every movie like Star Wars or The Karate Kid or, you know, Lord of the Rings, like the hero always has to go through the most frightening thing that they can think of so they can come out on the other side and then be the hero, you know, and it's like you guys are your own heroes. You need to go through that fear so you can come out the other side and be a hero for yourself and your family and everyone else that you're pulling up in this ascension process with you. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that experience.
Thank you.
Do you think humanity is ready for contact?
Some. I think some.
Yeah.
And I've gotten information from so many different sources, like people, living people and energetic beings alike. And they've all said they will be seen by those who can see them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I feel like it's kind of like what we talked about before about me talking to people who have passed and not really knowing that they were past. It's going to kind of be like that. You're going to be watching a bunch of people in my head. This is how I visualize it. Going to be watching a whole bunch of people just standing there talking to nobody. And some people are going to be like, what, who are they? What the hell? Like, why is everybody going crazy in that field over there talking to nobody? But because their vibration isn't at the point where they can see it, they're not invited. It's not that they were never invited. It's that the only way you can get into this club is by delving deep and coming out alive.
Yeah.
And that's how one gets in the door, because the door isn't even there if you're not doing that work. So those of us who can see them will. Those who can't won't. And those who can't, I say can't because it can be done. Right. But it needs to be
it's just not their time. Yeah, right. It's not their time. Yeah.
And it's work.
Awesome. So I have a bunch of questions I could keep asking you, but I really want to let you work with the people in the chat room, because there's a lot of questions for you. We can always come back to my questions later if we run out of audience questions, but I know there's a lot of people who are going through a lot and they need some guidance and information that's really important. And just before we came on live, Sabrina shared with me that her medical intuition has gone way up, and she's doing a lot of that right now. So I know that we have some medical questions in the audience. And if you're ready to get started, Sabrina, I'm happy to segue over into that. Or if you want to take a quick break, let me know. We could do it now. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you for asking. I can always just leave, but no, I'm fine.
I feel like talking about, okay, I'll tell you later.
Yeah, I'm good. So thanks for hanging in there, everyone. We are going to get to your questions here momentarily. We have a dear person in the chat room named Anna, who's a client of mine, and she's a friend, and she's a beautiful soul, also a healer and a light worker in her own right. And she's been having some breathing issues. So I put her question up on the screen. Her name is Anna DeLuca. If you could check in about her lungs, she would be most grateful, I'm sure.
Okay. So, there it is.
It should be right. Can you see it right on the bottom of the screen there?
Right there. Can we ask specifics? If so, my breathing issues. Okay. Oh, you're like the third person that I've had this with. This is awesome. Okay. So, Anna, nice to meet you. And your breathing issues are from, so there's you're really, really, really ready to do the work that's needed of you, to help people around you, to really work through this shift and keep people, wanting to shift. And in that, you're asking questions like, maybe not the wording, but the gist that, I really want to be able to help. I want to know so much stuff. I want to have this stuff at my, just as soon as I call for it, I want to have it. And you're getting it, but the breathing issues are from your energetic self being a little bit ahead of your physical self. So what I mean by that is that if we want whatever we want, we pull towards us. So it doesn't matter if we're ready for it or not. If we continue to ask for something, we will get it. And which is why wording is so important in general. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody has to be concerned or anxious about their wording, we learn how to do the wording through asking questions. Learn to do by doing. That's the whole 4-H rule, the learning thing of 4-H. So what I'm getting with you is that energy of yours is vibrating so high that it's almost vibrating at a separate level from your physical body, your physical self. So you are a little bit in front, your energetic self is a little bit in front and not grounded fully into your physical body. So it's not that you're not a grounded soul, because you do work, you do energetic work. And I feel like you do a lot of grounding work as well. That's good. And when you do the grounding work, you also then have to pull all of you within yourself and then picture your vibration as your energetic field. So like how do I explain that a little better? Like I would just imagine a light version of me going whoop, right into my physical self, and then having like a buzzing kind of a visual, if you're a visual person, all around me, the 6 feet, 6 feet every which direction all around us. So why I'm saying that is because I feel like when your energetic self is in your physical self, you work from the heart area, which so do I. And when you do connection, you connect at the heart. And what happens is when you're doing that connection, you're almost pushing a little bit of yourself through there. So it's like the breathing aspect isn't fully 3D in that moment. And the interesting thing about that is that there is no breathing in 5D. Like we don't need to breathe in 5D. So, but what you're doing is you're almost carrying that 3D breathing through to the person or the client or something that you're talking to. That isn't a bad thing per se, except that it does this. It gives you shortness of breath. And the pictures that you show yourself are different than the pictures that you would show yourself if your energetic self was within yourself. So what I mean by that is right now you may be making the pictures that your lungs are filled with water, or that they're not opening, like they're a shriveled up balloon or something like that. Whereas when your energetic self is fully within your physical self or fully around, then you would picture your lungs as balloons and working well. You have a different view when you're within yourself than you do when you're trying so hard to help that you push a portion of yourself out of there. So you're so excited to help. You so want ascension to happen. You so want people to catch on and do things that you're almost slipping a piece of yourself into that. And so there's a boundary that needs to be put up, not for you not to give, but for you to understand what you need to keep when you're giving. So, okay, so they're showing me pictures of you. They're showing me pictures of my lungs as yellow balloons, and then seeing the balloons fully expand and concentrating on that picture. Yeah, concentrating on that picture while you're doing your regular work. And anytime that you have breathing issues, I can really see, and even if you breathe in, to breathe in yellow, to breathe in yellow, to breathe in yellow. And for me, the yellow, it could be, if you have a specific color that you would prefer, that you feel more attached to, then use your color. The reason I'm seeing yellow is because with fresh breath comes joy for me. So I'm always breathing in joy, so that my lungs just fill up with joy, because joy is such a super uber high vibration that nothing else can kind of mess with the lineup that I make for that joy, that yellow.
That's beautiful. And
So
use your I am joyful.
Yeah, exactly.
Use your I am joyful oils and rub them on your heart chakra, Anna, and just breathe in and do the affirmations. I am joyful. Because what Sabrina is saying is like, it's about what you're visualizing and what you're picturing when you think of your lungs. Start to shift that into a positive, like opening, healthy lungs, and use your affirmations and your oils. And I think that'll be super helpful.
And what is the I Am Joyful oil? What is that mixture?
Do you mean what's in it?
Yeah.
It's mostly the citrus oils. I'm not sure if I have it handy. I have my...
That would make sense.
Or maybe I do. Hang on. It is a yellow stone. It's yellow jade. And let me tell you what's in there. Sorry, guys. I make essential oil elixirs with crystals inside the bottles for healing. They're healing tools that I make, and Anna has all of them. So we're just trying to get her to use her powers of visualization along with the physical healing tools she has. Okay, so it's got ylang ylang, which is a flower essence, wild orange, lemon, and lavender. And then it has yellow jade, or you may have the sodalite version, but it either has yellow jade or sodalite in it.
Yeah. And those are perfect oils for breathing and calming, because I mean, the citrus oils just go through your body so naturally and clear out all the toxins. And yeah, so that's perfect. And it fits well, doesn't it? Synchronicity.
Yes. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you,
Anna, for your question. Yeah. Awesome. So Triasa, I hope I'm saying your name right, Triasa Talbot. She has a question. Where did it go? I just saw it. Oh, yes. She says, I just wanted to know if I have any good message from spirits.
Well, I hear a deep, jovial laugh, like somebody that you always want to make laugh at a family party because, you like their laugh. I hear one of those. I hear lots of messages for you. I feel like something about something you're seeing or not seeing. I feel like there's a question you're asking yourself. I don't know if I can be super direct here. Am I able to? I can see. Can I just?
Are you asking her if you
kinda.
can direct with her? In other words, you want her to spill the beans in front of the whole world?
Yeah. You want me to do that or not? It sounds terrible. I don't think it's embarrassing, but it might be a little personal. So I'll wait until she says yay or nay to that.
Okay. Yeah, there's a 20-second delay on our end, so we will wait for your response, Triasa.
20 seconds. We can do it. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Okay, she says fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so I feel like there's a question that you're asking yourself constantly, something along the lines of a relationship or the relationship that you're in. I feel like you're wanting something from a relationship. Like boyfriend, girlfriend type thing. I can't think of that word right now.
Romantic relationship, like not platonic.
Yes, not platonic.
That's okay. I've had those days.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one that has them. Jeez. And I sound so smart other times, but then no. Okay. So from a romantic partner, or you're looking for a romantic partner, there's something about why am I not good enough? Like, why am I not getting who it is that I've been working toward? And even if it's not with your partner, it is, because it's about you being your partner. There's this question that you're asking constantly outward, and that question needs to be turned around and asked inward. Everything that you want, everything that you're looking for, everything that you are hoping for is within you. I mean, I'm going to be saying all of these empowerment things the entire time that I'm talking about this stuff, because this is where we're at. You specifically in this question of your worth in a relationship, you need to turn that question inward and ask your worth within your relationship, within yourself. And it's not that you don't feel that you have worth. I feel like you're a little trepidatious to begin that adventure, that endeavor. It's definitely an adventure. But while you're walking through it in the beginning of this journey, it might seem more like an endeavor. But your worth is not at all somebody else's to give you. Like the light that I can see is your light, is very, I want to say firm, like it's very, it's so, like it's a teal color.
Solid.
It's bright. Yeah. There's like no, yeah, it's really bright. It's such a touchable color in your light is in my mind. And with this light, you need to be able to figure out what it is that you're asking from yourself before you put the question out there for who's out there for you. Because if we feel we're not worth much, you know, sometimes we settle for situations that we thought we wouldn't normally. And again, it's not that you think you're not worth much, but there are things that you have been either ignoring or blatantly walking away from within yourself as far as work goes. I'm going to go with anxiety. I feel like there's anxiety somewhere in your life about thinking. And again, anxiety is all about, oh, you can put it right up there. That's awesome. Anxiety is all about being never in the now. It's about being in the forward moment. And so you can't address yourself in the forward moment because this is where it happens. In this physical self right now, this is where it happens. So it's almost like, you know, like, oh yeah, okay, I'll be nice to myself when I'm a happy person. Well, no, you won't be happy because you're not nice to yourself. Not you, but that's an example. So what really needs to happen is all those questions that you're asking of other people or you're asking about other people, say a silent question you're just asking in your head, flip that around too and ask yourself the exact same question. And then feel the answer if you can. And if you can't feel the answer, then talk it out, you know? Why is it that I'll talk from my point of view. Why is it that I feel the need to take things personally when I know that the things that are being done are not personal? Well, because I have an issue with codependency. I think that when somebody says something to me, it's to hurt me, not to give me some clarity as to how to move through this relationship with them. And these are questions that I go deeply with myself, and you need to with yourself. Every single question you ask about or from or of another, you need to be able to turn it around and ask yourself and find out the answers that you give yourself. And if you just say, I don't know, that's not the truth. You need to go deeper. And the I don't know is the exact habit that perhaps caused you to not go any deeper, because you do know. It's more, are you willing to acknowledge that yet? And they're telling me it's time. So, a self-conversation.
It is time.
It is time. And you can put the question out there as well. Like literally just ask a question out to the air and then basically forget that you asked it and then let it go. And at some point it will come back and answer you.
Awesome. Thank you for that reminder of the process of asking. That's really helpful. Okay. Thank you for your question, Triasa. I hope I'm saying your name right. Feel free to correct me in the chat room so I get it right next time. anyways, we have a new question from Red Rose, also known as Sonia, and she wants to know if she's a way shower.
Yes. Yes. And in a way that, well, you're a way shower for the anxious. So you're somebody who, you're welcome very much. Tressa. That's a beautiful name, whichever way it's pronounced. So Sonia, yes, very much a way shower for the anxious. So what I mean by that is that when you're able to sit in that mindset and hear the words that have been taught to you to say about yourself and to yourself, and then they're just kind of words flying past you rather than sticking to you or slapping you in the face as they come near you, because when we're taught to say things to ourselves, they really are a slap in the face sometimes. So you have to acknowledge the work that you've already done to get to the point where you're at, and you need to understand that the work you're doing, like I mentioned before about the ripples, you know, the work you're doing, you're making ripples for other people who don't understand how to plug in the way that you do and to the level that you do. Again, they get help. And that's a way shower, one who makes ripples by delving deep within themselves. So this is a very important process that you go through. And the way showing, being a way shower, you know, you have to now take that as an honor rather than take it as a responsibility. It's an honor. It's a responsibility, sure, but it's a responsibility of you to yourself. So to me, that's just more of an honor, because I can then process it, help myself with it, and then help God knows how many other people that it comes, that ripple touches, which is, again, everybody. So yes, you are a way shower, and you need to be aware that all of the work you're doing so far has been a huge help. And thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your question, Red Rose. We have a few more questions. I kind of scrolled down. So Chandra, let me get to your question in a moment, because I skipped a couple of people and I want to be fair and ask them in the order which they came in. Dexter wants to know, what is making his dog Corona so anxious all the time?
Bats. I hear bats. I see them. I feel like they're coming down. Like if she's out at night. Which one is Corona? Is that the big one? Not the
Karuna.
Yeah.
Karuna.
Yeah, it's the mastiff looking one, right?
Why would you name your dog Corona? Dexter.
You know something, Dex. Well, whichever. I see bats, and I see like the dog outside, and like standing there looking up like, oh crap, where are they? I feel like maybe the eyesight isn't amazing anymore. So it's a different, like she's seeing differently now. And yeah, she doesn't see them upward so much. Like she's having a hard time looking up and seeing the bats. So I feel like there's something that's coming in. I mean, even a bump on the wall, I feel she kind of reacts to because of them, that they're just surprising the crap out of her outside, poor thing. But she's also bringing them because she has a little bit of anxiety anyway. So she's kind of calling the bats into her because they co-create with each other as well. So if a dog needs some help, then a bat is able to come in and help them. You're a little bit fearful. Well, here, let me help you with your fear. I'll cause you to be fearful, and then you can work through that on your own. Mm-hmm. Karuna. I just saw it. Don't have that, then it's a bird. There is something that's coming down and it squeaks.
It's Ariel.
Yeah, and it's a nighttime thing though, like a dusk and nighttime thing. This is why I'm assuming bats, unless you have like some sort of a weird bird that's kind of like small. It's not large at all. It's very quick. I can't believe you don't have bats there.
He doesn't have bats?
Yeah, no. He
oh
says,
my goodness.
Where are you? Are you not still in Arizona, Australia? I'll just go to your place. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So if it's not bats, it's birds. Something aerial.
It's something aerial. Yeah. It's coming down. It's like popping and then going back up.
Could it be like pixies or fairies or something like that?
It could. I feel like it's something
physical.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll tell you what they're showing me. For me, they're showing me like we have June bugs. I don't know if you guys have June bugs. Do you have June bugs? They're big flying beetles, and they are so, it's disturbing when they get in your hair. And
oh my gosh.
Oh, they're so, I'm not kidding you. They're like, I don't know if you can see, they're like this big, and they fly like they're really dumb. And so they don't have accurate patterns at all. They just kind of fly and bang into things. And it's something like that that's coming down, banging and popping her, and like, and she can't see them well enough. I feel like she's got something about dark, like she can't see in the dark that well. And there's just these things that are happening, like coming down and popping her. But there's
a lot of bugs do that. When there's a light outside the door, they'll come and like fly around the light, and they can't see, and they like hit you.
And
that's the worst.
And I do love all things, right? But I don't love them in my hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the only thing. So that's what I'm getting at. It's okay.
Awesome. Thank you for your question, Dexter. Okay, so we have a similar question with Yvonne, who is a local here to me and a good friend. She wants to know what's making her cat Prince so anxious lately.
So I'm being shown a few things. The first thing that I'm being shown, I feel it, is that there's a major change in the house. I kind of consider cats like, they're kind of like ghosts. So when you make a change in the house, like a renovation, and if the energetic attachment to that house isn't approving of it, then you have a lot of activity, or is excited about it as well. You have a lot of activity that happens in houses that are haunted. I don't call it haunted, but I will for this point. And then, the spirits get livened up because energy's shifting in the house. Everything's changing. So I consider cats kind of the same way. As soon as something happens in the house, some cats are so sensitive, it could be furniture change. But I feel like there's something more going on. And so it's like energies and the cats together are kind of like, what happened? And they don't really understand what's going on. Oh, Big Reno that's her. That's Yvonne. Yeah. So this is what I feel like is kind of causing it initially. Another thing that I feel like could be doing it is like flooring. Like perhaps what I'm being shown is going from something like carpet to hardwood, or carpet to tile. Like even concrete tile. It's something very different. And I feel like the cat has just a few issues with walking on like maybe slippery floor, or there's something different. Like they just feel different walking across the floor. And it's enough of a change to be like, oh, I don't want to walk on this kind of floor. I want to walk on the old floor. So it's it's an interesting anxiety, but I also feel like there's something young that's come either into the house or around the house. So when I'm saying young, like baby, puppy, like even the neighbors, if they have a baby that, you know, they just had a baby or something and they cry, and what's the cat's name? Prince. So I feel like Prince is really energetically sensitive. So those ripples that the baby makes from crying causes Prince to, because of the other changes that are going on, it causes Prince to be just a little bit enough uncomfortable where little things are setting him off. So I feel like it's probably the reno that started it. And then, you know, something from the reno, maybe the flooring that kind of validated his anxiety. And then anything that happens outside of that is just kind of adding to it. So it's not like he needs medication. He just needs a lot of understanding. And he wants you to know very clearly that he understands all of your words contextually. So he knows when you're talking to him, he understands you 100%. And he likes when you talk to him in a way saying, you know, it's a renovation, Prince. I'm sorry, it set you off, but, you know, let's get through this and we'll figure this out and we'll be better for it. Oh, the neighbor has a new barking dog. Yeah, that would totally do it. Yeah. And he's just like,
maybe it's a puppy.
Yeah. And it's just annoying.
Okay. Thank you. True. Thank you for your question, Yvonne. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
And now I apologize to Chandra because now I can see that your question was way up earlier in the chat and you repeated it a couple times. So I apologize. I am manning this ship all by myself here. So Chandra wants to know how she can better nurture her new spiritual path. And she was just diagnosed with bronchitis today. And she has such a severe headache. I'm so sorry, Chandra. That sounds awful. My heart goes out to you. Thank you for your patience as we got to your question. And take it away, Sabrina.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Chandra. Okay. So let's go with the bronchitis first. Well, the severe headache is from a lack of oxygen. That is very clearly being shown to me. Again, you also have to do some picturing, right? Like you really have to convince all of I think it's Joe Dispenza that said that our pharmacy is up here. Like this is our pharmacy, our brain. So
sounds like him.
Yeah, it does. Just exactly quoted him without even knowing. But very much, you really have to train your mind to be able to see clear lungs, not, oh, I have clear lungs. Just because you think you don't, your perception is that you don't have clear lungs. Moving to the 5D, you don't even have lungs. So, really, you can really picture something and do more health and healing than if you were to take medicine and not picture these positive things. So the bronchitis is directly from your choice of not breathing deeply. So what that means is that the bottom parts of your lungs, bottom portions of your lungs, and I feel like it's specifically your left lung more than your right lung that is affected. So like if you were to lay on your left side, you'd probably cough a lot more than if you laid on your right side. So I'm just saying a whole lot of times right now. That's how I plug in. Sorry, it's going to keep coming.
That's okay.
Okay, so yeah, so the not breathing deep. So I'm going to say maybe more moments of being non-grounded, that your lungs have been giving you an opportunity to breathe deep or exercise breathing deep for, I feel, years. I feel your lungs have kind of been something, maybe not an issue, but like if it gets hot out, you can feel it. Excuse me. You can feel it in your lungs. If it gets cold out, you can feel it in your lungs. A lot of things, you know, if you were to get anything, it would be, you know, any of the flus, you would get the cold and flu because of your lungs rather than the stomach flu, because your stomach is pretty healthy. So what they're showing me is they want you, oh, this is interesting. So they want you to, when you breathe in, to show yourself that you can control your thoughts to the point where, I don't know where you are in the world, but if you breathe in a hot place, that you actually breathe in cold air and feel it go in cold from here, like the back of your throat and down into your lungs. Feel the air being cold. So if it's like a piping hot day out, you can feel the coolness going into your lungs. And then that way breathing becomes a soothing activity rather than a challenging activity. Plus, if you're putting cool air into your lungs, which all we have to do is control the air by saying, I am putting cool air into my lungs. And then take a breath in. And when we're putting cool air into our lungs and we have bronchitis, I've had pneumonia quite a few times. I had it 3 or 4 times. I don't really know how many times to say, so I will round it to 3 or 4. So, and what I did the last time is I did exactly that. I pictured me breathing in almost like menthol, but with a blue color, not a green color. And what I can see with your lungs is the deeper you can breathe that stuff in, the deeper you start to open up those little, it looks like in my mind, kind of like it's all perforated. It looks like a little bit Swiss cheese, but no, sponge. We'll say sponge. That's what it looks like. And when I'm seeing you breathe into that sponge and breathing that blue coolness in, I can see that the bottom of your lungs are really starting to open up. And then you're going to realize that when you breathe like that, you have connection to so much more spiritual abilities because you're now pulling in exactly what you want to embody you. You're pulling in spirituality. You're pulling in the innate ability to rise above any of challenges that come towards us. So this is really important that you have a visual. And if you don't think in visuals, then figure out how you think and find a way where you can put this blue, this it's like Excel gum, like the blue Excel gum. Like that's what I can taste and see going into you. So the spiritual abilities. I don't remember that question, that part of it.
Oh, I can pull that back up for you in 1 second.
There's something.
See, she said she wants to know how to better nurture her spiritual path.
Right. First off, by listening to your lungs.
You're so practical.
It's the truth. Like this is how you gain spiritual growth.
Don't lungs also represent grief? Can't they sometimes represent grief? Yeah, if you have lung problems, it's like ongoing grief.
All the grief that's going on right now
in the world.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but this is also like the breathing aspect is also the form of life. It's giving one's self life. So if we can see health going in, like cool health going in while we're giving life to ourselves, then the spirituality is just, it like exudes out of us, but we have to be grateful. So in order for us to be grateful, it's almost like something needs to be proven to us, right? Well, if you start breathing in that cool blue color and feeling, and you're going to, excuse me, and you're going to see that your lungs will expand really well, and you'll probably breathe better than you ever have before. And you'll probably not get bronchitis again when you're dealing with this stuff. And then you're going to be like, holy crap. And then it just happens. Like everything just happens. But if you put a question out there and you focus on the question or the answer to the question, even though you don't know what the answer is, that tunnel vision is going to limit you in such a crazy way. So literally, by making the intention is asking for it and then forgetting you ever said anything. And then you'll get it.
Beautiful. Thank you for that reminder. And Pat Elfman also says he uses peppermint oil on a cotton ball. And that is awesome because peppermint is a great opener. It opens your sinuses. It opens your lungs. And coincidentally, and I'm not trying to sell you, Chandra, but I wanted you to know that I do make an elixir called I Am Breath. And it's specifically for opening your lungs. And it contains peppermint, eucalyptus, and breathe, which is a blend that is specific for breathing. So, and this crystal in that one is moss agate. So if you want to check that out, you can visit my website and try it. It's also a way to support this show. So consider that as you are on your healing journey. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Reading
thank
for
you.
Chandra.
Yes,
and thank you, Chandra, for all of your patience.
You're welcome.
And we have a new guest with us, 509 Divine Pines. Thank you so much for joining. He says, oh, my lungs are expanding for sure right now. That's
right,
awesome. Yes, we had a couple lung questions tonight in the chat room. So, and like you said, grief is going all around with, the pandemic, as you called it, and everything we've been going through as a collective. So I'm not, surprised that people are having lung issues. Yeah, prior in I think it was 2017. Yeah, when I started the Ascension sessions, my very first recording, I was just coming off of pneumonia. And I used to get pneumonia every March or February for like 3 years. I would get either bronchitis or pneumonia. And I remember recording my first show in LA, and I would have these coughing fits and I'd have to leave the room to not disturb the recording. You remember that?
I remember having you like that.
Having what?
Having a session with you, and you were like, I'm sorry.
About it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. I was coughing on our session. And after that year that I almost died in the waiting room of the hospital, the ER, because I had a panic attack as I was waiting to go in to be seen to find out if I had pneumonia. After that bout of pneumonia, after I healed, I went into like a really deep meditation, and I basically told my body, like, listen, you are not going to develop this pattern of getting lung issues every February. Like, I reject this. This is no longer part of my reality. I don't want lung issues every winter. Like, this is not happening. And I swear, knock on wood, I have never gotten another lung issue since 2017. Yeah. So it's been 4 years. I've been clear. I haven't had any issues. And so it's, it's partly physical, but it's really intentional and spiritual, and painting those pictures, like she said, in your head and your intentions, and then using the healing tools and the oils just to get like space in there.
And validation. It seems like, I don't know, the oils like lemongrass and peppermint, those two put together. Oh my goodness. Like I could smell it and feel the green go into my lungs and into my body, like that. And again, I'm in the 5D enough to know that I'm not smelling this. I'm in the 5D enough to know that I'm not touching this, but having it validates the work I'm doing. So it's like, I'll take it, because it's so, God, I love the smell of peppermint. Oh,
I know, me too.
I'm
It's
with
amazing.
that.
And peppermint's great for headaches too, Chandra. If you can, just if you have pure peppermint oil, just put it all across your forehead, your temples, the back of your neck, wherever you're feeling the headache, and just lie down for like 10 minutes and close your eyes, because the vapors are going to mess with your eyes anyways. But use as an excuse to lay down, slow down, and just breathe. Do deep breathing for 5 or 10 minutes. You'll feel amazing after that.
I agree.
So awesome. So we've got another question from Mr. Thomas Olson. Thank you so much for joining our show live tonight, and welcome if you're a new visitor to our channel. I welcome you to subscribe and like this video, and thank you so much for posting a question. He says, greetings. Any advice from my guides for moving through the present shifts, and or any recommendations of present path of studies?
Interesting. I mean, thank you for reading that, Cheri, because I got like immediately writing. You need to write. And I feel like it's like you can write on many different levels. So like on the journal level, on the story, the adventure level. What I'm feeling you really need to write down, not symptoms, but like happenstances, we'll say. And write down how how you move through those happenstances, because like you're going to be shifting so quickly, being male in this time frame. Men have it, I'm not going to say harder than women have it right now, but they have a different kind of hard, because women, we've always been, I shouldn't say always been, I'm going to say we've not really been discouraged with having emotions or about having emotions. So women are, that one time of the month, everybody knows in the world that we are murderous and we eat a lot of chocolate. Okay. Yes. And very emotional, and that's accepted. It's understood. Even if men don't understand why we are emotional, they accept that we are. So that part has been easy for us. Now we do different work. So that different work we do isn't easy, but what men have is they're doing a whole lot of work in a small amount of time, because until now, every young man was told not to cry or he's a wimp. Every young man was told to suck it up. That cut doesn't hurt, even though it's like, I'm missing a hand, Dad. Like, it's major stuff that young men were told to suck it up and don't show emotions. And literally men from their predecessors have been shutting that third eye down so majorly that they have no idea what these emotions are. Mm-hmm. So men are getting a lot of physical issues in this shift that I've been noticing. Lots of gut rot, lots of headaches, lots of irritability, lots of like people are like questioning who it is they're with, even, like mainly women, like, who is my husband today? Like, who is this man? I don't understand. And so we have to understand as a collective that you as a collective man are doing really good work right now. Everything that you're doing is integral. We need to open up the gateways so that the men can catch up without having to suffer. So this is where we're at with men. So with you, Thomas, what we're going to do, what you need to do is acknowledge the work that you have been doing. And when I say acknowledge it, I don't just mean, oh, I did this or that. You need to write it down and see what you've moved through. Yeah, to see what you've, as evidence and as validation of what you've moved through so far. Because the advice that I'm going to give you for your shift is to acknowledge and be aware that every day you're making change. And I can feel, maybe you're saying right now, I don't feel like I'm doing that. But you are, because each time that you choose to, how is this put? Each time you choose to, in the smallest way, take the higher path, take the higher road, you are helping so many other men see the road. So my advice to you is to write stuff down daily, because daily you're growing. And you can look at these books in 3 weeks from now and still see massive change from 3 weeks ago, kind of thing. So and I feel like you're like you're kind of like me. You're a technical person. I can whenever people are similar to me, they always show me mechanics, literally mechanics, like engines and gears and stuff that works on a metal level. And they're showing me very much that that's how you are. You need your wheel, your gears are starting to roll, but it's like the tractor, you know, the old tractor at the bottom of the hill, trying to get into maybe second as you're going up the hill, kind of thing. So, but that's how you feel you're moving. But in reality, you're not looking at all the tiny little engine parts that are and moving really fast, getting that body to move as much as you think it, or as little as you think it's been moving lately. So really acknowledge yourself, write it down so that you can acknowledge yourself and be aware of the changes you make, because pretty soon you're going to be able to be aware of it without having to look at what you wrote about yourself. And that's going to be the freeing part.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Thomas, I hope that is helpful. Please let us know in the chat room. And we've got about 5 minutes left on the show, and we just got one more question. Are you good to take one more question, Sabrina?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So this question is from Katana. Thank you for joining the Ascension Sessions, Katana. Thanks for being here. I haven't seen your name before, so thank you so much for coming in. She says, spirits have talked to each other, but why not with me? I hear them. They speak full sentences. What's going on?
Right?
Come on, Sabrina.
Right? Oh my goodness. When I first started.
What a great question.
It is. It is a good question. And
Yeah.
it's a question where you hear that, you hear that garbled talking in the other room. And then you go to the other room and nobody's here. And then you hear the garbled talking, you know, down the hallway a little bit. So you go down the hallway and nobody's there. Like, what the heck? You're talking about me, aren't you? So it's true. They're not talking to you because it's not time yet. There are a few things that you need to develop within your, I feel like, pineal gland. So I feel like you're working on a very universal level. So what you need to do is stop asking why they're not talking to you, but start to understand that there's something in your ears that you're not hearing the messages that they could be giving you, or that they are giving you, but you're not hearing it because your ears need development. So if we're always asking why, are we still listening? Or are we asking why over top of the list of the spirits talking? And what I mean by
ignoring her? Are you getting the sense they're ignoring her?
No, they're not ignoring her. They're speaking to her. But what she's doing is it's almost like if somebody were to ask me, why does this happen? And then I tell them why it happens. And then they say again, so why does this happen? and it's like, well, I just told you, did you not hear me? And it's not that it's not that you're not listening, Katana. It's that you're asking questions when it needs to be quiet. And it's not like as soon as you're quiet, you're going to start to hear them, because there is a lesson in it. It's not just about being quiet. It's about something in your ears. So what I'm feeling like is perhaps it's information for a part of yourself that you have not considered doing work on yet, or that you've, again, resisted doing work on. So you could hear them if you did the work. When you do the work, you will hear them, and you will hear exactly what they're saying. But you know what's funny is that you can read lips, and yet that's an ability that hasn't come through yet. It's funny though, because they keep on showing me them talking and it's like silent, or yeah, like it's, I can hear a buzzing in my ears, or like a really high pitched ringing in my ears each time they try to speak. So my perception of that is that the information that is coming from them is divine. It is absolutely life-changing. And you need to be in a space where you can accept the information that comes out of their mouths, because if you don't accept it the first time you hear it, it might be harder to accept later and later and later and later. So they want you to have all of the parts of your being. They're saying mainly your heart and your mind. They want your heart and your mind aligned. And then you're able to hear what this message is that they're trying to tell you. And the reason that you can't hear it is because they want you to look forward to hearing it, right? Like, so, I mean, they could just not ever show up. And then all of a sudden, when they do decide to show up, they can speak and you can hear them. But they didn't want to do it that way, because they wanted you to look forward to finding out what the message is. They want you to be like, kind of, you know,
interested.
Yeah. Like wanting to do the work so that you can find out the message.
But I think she's saying she can hear them. They're just not talking to her, right? Is that what you got in her original question?
See them, and it's almost like can't hear them.
Spirits have talked to each other, but why not with me? So she can hear them and see them, but they're not speaking to her. It's like they're having their own conversation and
doing exactly what, like making her mind go, what, and wonder. It's like it's a pull-in. It's the rope. It's you want the info. You've got to do the work to get it. I have little.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting.
I know.
Has it happened to you?
Well, mine's the other way. Mine is they're talking in a different room, and I go in there and they stop the talking, and then I'm like, but I know there's a message for me here. Like, what are you doing? And then I can hear them down the hall. Like I said, I can hear them in my room down the hall. I go down there, and I'm not going down there. I know they're not going to be there. I know the message is about me being present and being able to then move my energetic field out to move around that conversation, so that I can
get closer.
Right. So that I can download it on every level, rather than just on a hearing ghosts level. Right. I mean, I have oh gosh, I have a rabbit. I will say that, but sitting on my floor in my living room, this happens all the time right now. I see a rabbit always going through the periphery in my left side. And then I'll look and I'm like, well, our rabbit Pete is right there. I can see him. And then I started to realize that the elementals are definitely coming out on my property, because of the energy that I put on it and the light that I bring to it and the vortexes that I've created on it. So then everything's like, hey, let's go to the energetic spot. So I've got like lots of little things all around my property that, no, I don't necessarily see with this part of my eye, but I see it here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a message, right? I'm not ready to see them yet. I have to learn something before I can see them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I'm going with Katana's question.
That makes sense.
Oh, and then she said something
Awesome.
else. I didn't see that one.
She said interesting. She said interesting. And yes, that's the only thing I saw.
Yeah, I hear them and they speak full sentences. Right, but they're not talking to you. So, and they won't. Not until that part of you is delved into. And I feel like when you go into that, you have to tell yourself, yeah, study time is right. It is study time. And when you go into yourself to find that work that needs to be done in order to hear, in order to align your mind and your heart. Now, remember, our mind is not our brain. Our brain is our brain. That is all it is, our brain.
Uh-oh. Don't freeze on me. You froze on us. Sabrina. Are you guys still with me? Can you just comment in the chat room if you guys can still hear me or see me? Hopefully it's just on Sabrina's end. She's ice. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. We lost Sabrina. Hopefully she'll just come right back on. She's frozen on my end too. And it's so funny because I was just about to take a break. So good thing I didn't walk away from the camera here. We have one more question in the chat room from Farid. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much for coming on to the Ascension sessions. Also, I think you're new. So guys, in case you weren't here at the beginning of the show, I let everyone know that we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by summer solstice, which is June 20th. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And please, if you've been enjoying this content, hit the like button and hit the bell so you can get notified for new shows. I have some other exciting guests coming up later this month or in July. We're going to have Vivian Chauvet. We're going to have Steve Nobel. We're going to have, who else? There's one more that's escaping my mind, but we've got some really great people coming on the show. So please hit the bell to be notified. Or if you're on Facebook, feel free to like our Facebook page. But I really would love it if you guys would hop on over to YouTube and subscribe over there. So thank you so much for being here. I'm hoping Sabrina comes back. I'm going to give her another couple of minutes and hopefully Farid, she will come back so she can answer your question as well. And I will put it up for her just in case when she does come back, she can see your question. Oh, here she comes. Let me find your question. There it is. She's back.
Yay, on my phone.
Oh, did your laptop die? Your computer died?
No, the internet. So now I'm just using Wi-Fi or data.
Cell phone. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming back on. We have, if you're willing, we have one more question from Farid. And I think, guys, that'll be like the last question tonight because Sabrina has been so generous with her time and we've already gone over by 10 minutes. So I am going to disappear for about 2 minutes and I'm going to let you answer his question. It's, does he have any messages from his spirits?
Wow, I saw mountains. That's interesting. I've never had that come up before. So mountains. Okay. All right. I feel like this is kind of a perception that you have of how you move through things. So if there's many peaks and valleys, you definitely notice the peaks and valleys when you're moving through issues, shifts, challenges. Excuse me. So because I'm seeing these mountains and they're so very high and beautiful. It also feels like a specific mountain range. I don't know if you come from a mountain range, if you live near a mountain range, but this is a very, I'm going to say, adventurous way of moving through these shifts. So what I view is, what I can see is you going up and getting to the top of what you perceive as a challenge, and then coming down, and the down halfway seems like everything is great, and then you get to the halfway point and go the rest of the way down the mountain into the valley, and that becomes really difficult for you. And then it starts all again. It's a little bit difficult on the way up, and then it gets a little easier when you're near the top, and then it gets a little easier going down, and then halfway down again to the bottom of the valley, it's difficult again. There's a cycle. They want you to know that cycles are not meant to, they're not entirely meant to run the same way all the time. Now, I know I am saying that it's cycles, and that, excuse me, and that usually that means things run over and over and over again, but sometimes the cycles running themselves are the cycles. So it's more like when you go through these tough times, or the, not even tough times, just the shifts, just the challenges that you're going through. When you go through them, it's almost like the self-talk that you need to have for yourself is something like, this mountain is steep, but boy, is the air ever fresh up here, or boy, is the view ever crisp from up here. So it's not about denying the work that you're doing by climbing up the mountain, but it's about where you put your focus while you're climbing, which is the most important right now for you. You have to learn how to, because I feel like you're really good at focusing, but I feel like what you choose to focus on isn't necessarily what's going to get you where you want to go. So I feel like you really need to be aware of your self-talk when you're doing these challenges in this shift. And these challenges to everybody are very difficult. Like, they're not easy. And you're not going through something super easy either. So you have to honor the difficulty of the task, and then choose to focus on the positives in that moment of the task. I like to say it sometimes where, I chew the tips of my pencils a lot, like the erasers off. When I was a kid, even now, I'll stick stuff in my mouth all the time while I'm working, and I a lot of the times choose to have that as a habit rather than writing something with it, right? Like, I'm chewing on the end of the pencil rather than writing something with it. So the focus isn't in the right place for me. I could be writing, and instead I'm chewing. I'm using the same utensil. It's doing the same kind of a thing, but it's not the right end. And it's funny that I always chew off the part that gets rid of the mistakes. So I guess we're not supposed to get rid of our mistakes either, or wish we could. And maybe that's something also that's directly towards this particular reading, because if I said it, and also the mistakes, they are our teachers. So again, focus on something that is positive within what is difficult, rather than the difficulty of the task, if that makes sense.
Yes, that was awesome. That was kind of like part of the theme of the night. I felt like, it was a lot about going through fear, moving through our fear. The fear is there or difficulty in this case to, help us evolve and ascend and go through our lessons that we need in that moment to come out through the other side of that portal, the hero's journey. So thank you. Yeah. So thank you so much. It's kind of interesting how that happens sometimes where there's a lot of like group consciousness playing out, and those who were attracted to this YouTube show tonight came through with, similar topics.
Mm-hmm.
So
I find that always happens. There's always that theme for the night.
Right. Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Exactly.
So thank you for your question. We hope that was helpful. And Sabrina, thank you so much for going above and beyond like you always do, and giving so much value to everybody who had questions tonight. Chandra says, Chandra, I'm not sure how you say it. She says, thank you both for being here. So that's beautiful. And Eden, great interview. I love your energy. Sabrina, it's been a pleasure. Have a good night, everyone. So thank you all. And Yvonne says, thank you so much, Cheri and Sabrina. Thank you as well, Yvonne, for being here. It was awesome. And Farid is asking, can it be linked to that situation? And his situation was that he said he was having a hard time with his soulmate and they haven't had any contact for 2 months. So I think he just wants clarity on that.
I would say yes. I mean, I got yes immediately. So I would, and if he feels that it's linked to it or there's a possibility, he's got to trust his intuition. That's a definite yes. Yeah.
I would agree. Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Well, you guys, we didn't get a chance to talk about, we did do some animal communication. You did do a couple readings for some of their animal companions. So just as a reminder, Sabrina is a soul path coach. She's an animal communicator. She also does personal readings. She's also a medium. So if you have any loved ones that have crossed over that you are dying to get in touch with, Sabrina can help you in that area as well. And healer too. Dare I say healer as well, and a medical intuitive. So she has a lot to offer. Yes, the list goes on. So please get in touch with Sabrina. I will put her link up again really quickly if I can find it. I was trying to be so organized. There it is. Facebook.com/Sixth Sensibilities. She's also got her own website, but right now this is the best way to reach her. You can also reach her via email, which is 6th sensibilities@gmail.com. So definitely send her an email if you have any other questions for Sabrina. And again, if you enjoyed this show, please take the time to just hit that like and hit the bell, and please subscribe to this channel, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. That would be awesome. And if you'd like to support this show, please check out our website. It's cheriarellano.com/ascension. You can see more interviews on there. You can also go online and check out my shop where I make these beautiful crystal bracelets and essential oils for healing. Those are my healing tools. I also do healing work, so everyone can check that out. Thank you so much, Sabrina. I'm so honored. If you want to just hang on with me for 1 minute, and then I will let everyone go. Thank you, Elf. Thank you, Dexter. Thank you for all our old friends who came out tonight to support.
Thank you.
And Pat wants to say she's a bouncer for bars on the weekend too.
Yeah, I used to be.
She used to be a bouncer.
Yeah.
And thank you, Anna, and thank you, Eden, and everyone else. Katana, I'm sorry if I missed anyone's names, but it was a great show and you all made it so wonderful. So thank you again for being here, and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.